Welcome back to the Embodied Educator podcast. I'm Wientjes, and today I have the great pleasure of welcoming back my very first returning guest, Dr. Cacky Mellor. Cacky is a somatic practitioner, educator, and researcher whose work moves at the intersection of depth psychology, somatics, movement, and embodied learning. Her PhD in psychology under the title Somatic Reclamation, Exploring the Lived Experience of Words, was an award-winning research that continues to inspire educators and healing professionals around the world. She teaches in Lesley University's Department of Mental Health and Wellbeing, and through her private practice, under the same title, Somatic Reclamation, beautiful, she supports individuals around the world in returning to their bodies as places of wisdom, healing, and reverence. What I love about Cacky is how she brings a deep reverence for the body, for its stories and its intelligence, but also its capacity for connection. So she brings that into every space she enters, like the one you're about to enter now, where two empaths get to explore and reveal their experience as sensitive human beings in a very impactful educational system. Also, what an act of honoring it is to explore your students' names. And next to that, you get to discover why we are all tuning forks. So wherever you are, sitting, walking, resting, in the Netherlands we could say cycling, take a breath, soften a little, and join us in this gentle and profound conversation on how embodiment can become both a personal and collective pedagogy with Dr. Cacky Mellor. Welcome, dear viewers, dear listeners, to this conversation with some, maybe for you too, familiar face. For me, she is, because we spoke before. Cacky Mellor, welcome to the Embodied Educator as a returning guest, my first.
Hey, oh, thank you so much for having me, Liz. It's such a joy to be back here with you and with the Embodied Educator community.
Yes, thank you. I think you're the one who really, actually you and Manu, coined it for me, where I was dreaming about it, but I remember in our conversation, I think it was also because the way you led us through a practice that I really felt the community. And that was the first time I could totally sink into that and thinking, but we're doing it. It's here. It's now. And from there on, I felt like, yeah, but that's what it is. It's the Embodied Educator community. So thank you for pointing that out again.
But yes, I feel it too.
Yeah. Around the world, to whoever is present for us to ripple further into the classroom and outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we spoke about like how to prepare for this and how to guide our session. And we had the idea of starting just straight on with landing and grounding. So I guess if you allow me, I'll invite us all to a little bit of a juicy presence here and now before we get explorative on any other somatics in the classroom. Yeah.
Please, yes,
Ready?
that sounds delicious.
Good. All right. I noticed, I don't know how you're sitting, Cacky, because you also have a beautiful background. I'm sitting on the ground, but I'm shifting a little bit backwards. So I have a backrest. I feel like that for me, it's the end of the day, might support me. So anyone tuning in, see if you can find steadiness somewhere in your body. For me, that's a backrest I'm leaning into. Or if you're standing, your feet on the ground. If you're sitting, maybe you can bring your attention to the bum on your chair. And slowly either close your eyes if you're comfortable, or bring your eyes to a point, a still point, to bring your attention a little bit inwards, a little bit backwards, and a little bit down. That's from my favorite coach, Rachel Blackman. I totally use that one of hers. Inwards, backwards, down. And from there, see if you can let your tongue hang loose in your mouth and allow your body to be breathed, to pass by the intention to control your breath. Instead, see if you can relax the belly and allow your body to breathe while you feel your bum on the chair, maybe your back against a backrest or a door, a wall. And bring your attention to your feet on the ground. Is there any sensation in the contact of the feet with the floor? How do your feet stand on the floor? Or maybe they're leaning on the floor when you're sitting cross-legged. Are they talking to you? How they feel? Are they present? And while you just scan your body quickly in this grounding exploration, everything's okay as it is, or try if you can allow what is. Doesn't need to be different. See if you can become aware of what you feel and maybe what you don't feel. Then you travel up from your feet on the ground, that connect to the soil underneath. And then you travel through your legs and maybe your knees, or your calves, your upper legs, all the way up to your pelvis and your hips. How are you in your seat? Does it feel like a throne or like a warm bath? Does it feel like it wants to move from all the sitting you might have been doing during the day? How is it in there? And they're just beautiful center, like the pelvis and the hips that carry you through the day. How would it be to breathe into the deeper belly, into the pelvic bowl that holds us upright, that holds our whole torso, and that connects our upper body to our lower body? And from there, we travel up the spine and check in with your belly. Are there any organs maybe gurgling? Gently squeezing. That's also your vagus nerve catching your organs with the sensation to release. Any twitching, gurgling, yawning, sighing, swallowing are all signs of the body releasing some tension. And the vagus nerve actively bringing you some nourishment. And then we travel up to the chest, the shoulders. We check in while your hands are through your arms connected to the chest area. Are they alive? Or maybe you can feel like a pulsation of aliveness somewhere in your hands, in your fingers. Might not be the case, that's okay. Or maybe they do bring a sparkle. And respond whatever way you feel like is comfortable for you here in the right moment now. And from there, travel up your neck, and maybe you want to move your head gently from left to right to wake up a little bit of the neck area where the vagus nerve travels through with big bundles of nerves. Very slowly, no train to catch. Just gentle movements. And see if you can still feel your bum on the chair while you do this. And then your spine, and then your torso on top, the pelvic bowl on the bottom. And then your spine carries also your shoulders. And then maybe you can imagine like a waterfall, like a power up the front and a waterfall down the back to release any tension in the upper body. You might notice it's something I need at the moment from being behind the computer. To let the shoulder blades slide over your back to rest in a neutral position. And then bring your awareness up through the neck to your head and your face. And maybe you can squeeze your eyebrows for a moment and then release them. And if you connect the next squeeze of your eyebrows with your sitting bones, maybe they can join for a moment just to gently connect the spine and the whole upper body in like the primal streak area of the body when we're in uterus. And then squeeze and let go and see if you can find a sense of widening to land more in your seat. And one more squeeze of the eyebrows, and maybe your sitting bones can join in a tiny gentle squeeze, not a hard one, just for the sake of a little bit of tension, and then release. And from this widening, can you become aware of the space you're in? Where are you? What do you feel when you're in your room, classroom, outside, bedroom, maybe in your car, on the bicycle? Can you become aware of what's behind you, in front of you? And if you would extend a little bit further outside that room you're in, like maybe to the town on the right and a town further down on the left, where would that go with your attention? If you explore this, maybe your left side is more alive than your right, and everything's how it is. And then if we extend a little bit further to dip into that community we just talked about, like we extend further into space. I'm even stretching out my hands so I can almost reach you, if that's available to you in the moment. Maybe you can connect to that embodied educator community all around, places, beautiful lands in the world, each with their own embodied presence and embodied vision for our students, for this world, our life, to maybe make a tiny difference. And then if you travel like from that wideness back in, but keeping alive this, the wider sitting bones, the open face with the relaxed eyebrows. Maybe you want to bring a hand on your heart and remember or think of somebody, someone, something. Can be anything, anybody, your pet, friend, beautiful teacup that brings a smile to your heart. And then when you're ready, you can come back to the Zoom, this conversation, and open your eyes anyway, any moment you feel comfortable and ready.
Thank you, Liz.
You're very welcome. Thank you for letting me guide you.
Yeah, it was so beautiful to get to track the layers of deepening and softening and connection
Mm.
that unfolded. And every time I thought, I was like, oh, wow, I feel so present and so soft. And then another piece would come in and something else would open up and release. And I was like, I didn't even know that this layer of softening was available to me. So it's
Oh,
really sweet and surprising.
that sounds so, yeah, like a wonderful experience.
Yeah, it really
Very
was.
sweet. Yeah, that's cool. Nice. I had goosebumps when you said that, but in a way of like with the heat, but a very gentle one, like it was touching me and rushing even over my legs. And normally, my legs are the first part of my body that shut down, so they're always, so actually they're the most sensitive, but also the first ones to go offline. That's for me, my body talking to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, that sense of tracking is very interesting. It immediately like makes me, oh yeah, that's what I'm doing as well here. A habit of nervous system specialist, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I so resonate because even as I was sharing about the layers of stuff, I was getting waves of tingles down my legs. So we're definitely resonating.
See, even though we're miles apart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. A whole ocean between us, and we're still
Yes.
very connected and very present with each other.
Yeah. Do you ever have moments like this with either your students or your clients when you work with them? Do they also experience this?
Yes, absolutely. It's so powerful, this experience of resonance and polyvagal theory and the social nervous system, and just how deeply connected we are to each other across time and space.
Yeah.
Our nervous systems are tuning forks, just
Oh,
asking, begging for someone else to resonate at that same frequency. And it's an incredibly powerful uh, aspect of a somatic practice to tune into when I'm working with folks, of uh, getting really curious and coming into the practice very centered and aware of what is present for me and what's mine, so that when things are unfolding in a session and I notice a little bit of tightening here or a different sensation or emotion here, I can ask myself, is that mine?
yeah.
Is that the client's? Is that in
Mm-hmm.
the field? Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it's very uh, powerful and poignant to be paying attention and tracking my own experience so that I can have
Yeah.
this whole other realm of somatic information that's being communicated below our conscious awareness and below, like, so far beyond words.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I love the image of the tuning fork and then tuning in. Also, because that brings it back to that resonance, right? And that it's not just the words, but it travels in so much more sensations and languages
Yes.
that we are not always taught to speak and turn into and explore even.
Yeah. And it reminds me, one of my favorite poets is Andrea Gibson, who recently passed. And Um, one of my favorite poems of theirs is called Say Yes. And it begins with the line, when two violins are placed in a room, if
Yeah.
the chord on one violin is struck, the other violin will sound that note.
Yeah.
And it's such a, like I have goosebumps every time I connect in with that because it's happening. We're connecting and resonating and affecting each other all the time.
Yeah.
And when we know that, we can intentionally engage with that and we can utilize our own somatic awareness to invite other folks to meet us in that place.
Yeah.
And it can be really empowering too to have that awareness so that you can start to be curious of like,
Mhm.
oh, I walked into this room and the energy of the room hit me like I walked into a wall. And I remember as a child having those experiences, and I was like so confused and like, what is wrong with me? Like, why? I was just having a great day. Like, why am I so angry all of a sudden? And I didn't know
No.
that I was syncing up with all of these other nervous systems. And I really want more folks, and particularly young people and children, to be aware of polyvagal theory and the social nervous system in this way so that they can start to tease us apart and what's mine and what's not mine, and how do I uh, create a safety bubble around myself so that I can be touched by what's going on in the
Yeah.
collective,
Yeah.
but not be overwhelmed or kind of taken for a ride by it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And you're saying, I think, such an important thing, like well, so many things. Like this, the what's mine and what's not by mine, but also that you take on the other energy so easily without knowing. And then, like you said, you become angry without realizing that's actually not yours.
Right,
And
right.
then the safety bubble you talk about, how does that work? Do you have like a way of how that works with either children or adults, as in how they can relate to a concept like that?
Such a beautiful question. And there's so many different practices.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but this was a big part of my own healing journey because I'm an empath. If you didn't already guess that. Um, and growing up, like like empathy is such a superpower, and it's so important to being a part of a community and being in relationship. And when I was a child, I was so porous, and I just took on everyone's
Yeah,
pain, suffering, sadness, anger, like, and it was overwhelming.
of
And
course.
and it was just like I was a sponge. And so I would take in all of this. And then I developed a lot of uh physical symptoms because all of that tension and big emotion and pain was just collecting in my body, and I didn't realize what was happening, and I didn't know how to move through that or with that or let it go and lovingly return
Yeah,
it to where it came from.
yeah,
So initially, one of the things that was super helpful for me was energy medicine. And my high school biology teacher introduced me to Reiki. And that was such a lifeline, particularly when I was a teenager, to be able to tune into universal life force energy
mm-hmm.
and have that support again from this something greater than me
Mm-hmm.
to clear out and help sort through that what's mine, what's not mine, and to um, not take on other people's experiences as mine to do something about or to fix or to heal, to start to trust that they have their own experience and I need to trust and honor that they're on their own path and I'm responsible for my path and I'm not doing anyone any favors if I'm trying to uh, take on everyone who I walk by in the supermarket's energy.
Right.
Yeah, so that was really big initially for me. And since then, uh, continuing to develop my own practices somatically, energetically, spiritually to come back to my center.
Yeah.
And even if it's little short practices of uh, grounding into my sits bones and my feet, similar to what you guided us through a moment ago, or the uh, pausing to take a cleansing breath, uh,
Mm-hmm.
doing things like energetic cord cutting, all of like there's so many practices and different things are going to work for different people, and I use different things at different times.
Yeah, of
Uh,
course. Yeah.
but that intentionality is so
Mm.
important. And then once I found ways of finding my center and starting to parse out and discern what's mine and what's not mine, from there, I was also able to start to build a capacity of I don't have to take on
Yeah.
other people's energy, and that I could start to build like a still permeable bubble so I can connect with people and stay in
Yeah.
relationship, but not be quite such a porous sponge for taking on all of the energy just because someone else is in
It's
that
a
space.
superpower, right? And that's how it starts off, where, I mean, oh, yeah, you can interact with everybody. 'Cause
Yes.
I'm thinking, like, how can we recognize the empath? Well, 'cause I'm also a member of that club. How do we recognize them, first of all? How do you, can you maybe, because I'm actually fascinated by this, because I think, especially when being an empath, you'll be triggered. You'll meet people because in the essence, you won't change. It's a superpower, like you say, but finding your center and having the embodied tools is the way forward to have this healthy boundary between mine and yours. And to be honest, I sometimes still think, oh yeah, of course, that wasn't mine. But
Of course, it's a practice, right?
yes,
It's not about being perfect or being all or nothing. It's about that ongoing awareness and curiosity of like, oh, maybe I did take on a lot of that person's energy, or maybe I did like the stickiness of watching the news kind of settled in my system in a way that isn't serving me. Um,
but
so
that's so important, right? It sometimes it doesn't feel like a big thing, right? But it is, because for me, what you're just pointing out, I can so relate to that as being an empath. And I sometimes now say to my partner, I first it starts with, oh, I noticed something tingling, something is eating me on the inside, but I don't know what it is yet. And then
yeah,
later on, oh, I think it's just the news that we just watched. And that took me. And then I can almost sometimes I need to cry to
yes,
unload that pressure and to be able to know and link it and then discharge or shake
yeah,
to get rid of it. But you're mentioning like the point of that you also, when you knew it, you could start working with it.
yes, absolutely. I I know what I've noticed for myself is particularly like the news would be a great example, but this is true for a lot of different empathic experiences for me of that that profound empathy, like that depth of being really touched and affected by someone else's experience or groups of people's experiences or, what a collective is going through.
Yeah.
It's so profoundly moving. And that's often what's missing. That's the missing piece in the cycle
Yeah.
is my system is like, we need to move. I want to do something about this. I want
Yeah.
to mobilize. I want to, my heart is truly going out to them. And how can I take a action towards
Hmm. Yeah.
um sometimes it's not possible to take an action in a way that is going to uh be supportive of me and whatever the circumstance is. And that can feel really disorganizing and a little bit helpless. And so
Yeah.
uh, it's an ongoing practice for myself to start to explore when uh, that impulse, that organic impulse for my heart to go out and to want to affect change or take meaningful action, um, bumps up against a wall that's
Mm-hmm.
preventing me from being able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And that hopelessness
Yeah.
comes up and trying to compassionately be with the hopelessness or the helplessness so that I can honor that there is so much going on in our world that is heartbreaking
Yeah.
and the suffering is so big and it's not possible to as one person to change all of that. And I can honor the the humanity of that impulse and the archetypal
Mm.
quality of
Mm.
that spiritual call of I want to do more. I want to uh
Yeah.
find tangible things that I can do. And then it comes back to what is in my control and what's not.
Yeah.
And supporting my system of like what is one small action that I can take to support my community.
Yeah. And it sounds so powerful. And also, what came up is like if it comes from a healthy place and with that awareness, it's beautiful. But if you're overwhelm and you don't know, it shows up, but then it has this different load, right? So it's so beautiful what you just said, to honor the humanity of the impulse. So you realize like, oh yeah, my heart wants to reach out. And then with that awareness to realize, oh, is it coming from the right place in the right time in the right moment? Because we need to take a little bit extra care of ourselves to be able to show up in our full potential. Because now I am speaking from this empath experience as well. And if I may, I'd love to share, just to give it context, a moment where I felt like, oh, this is too much. Or for now,
Yes.
my partner is from Israel. And we've been here a year before already, and I haven't been here for a year. First of all, the resignation is going way out here, and I feel drained. So I know what's drawing me down, and I'm sending everyday love to to everybody in this conflict, and a little bit extra to the other side. But we went to demonstrate the last time I was here, because I wanted to take action, just like you said, because sometimes I can be also quite like fierce, and I want to
Yes.
move because it feels good,
Yes.
right? To channel that
Yes.
heart and goodness.
Yes.
But then seeing all those people and being there, the collective was so strong, so fierce. And to be honest, I think I never really was in a proper demonstration. And that was at the time against the government. Well, unfortunately, now it's getting even worse, worse, worse. But to not step into the content, but the context.
Yes.
It was too much. And I started crying, and my partner was looking at me, and he knows I'm an empath. And we've been working with this because that makes me think of the safety bubble. He's a little bit of my safety bubble because he holds my hand, and I've told him, and I don't always have to explain everything, but then he's like, okay, is it like too much? I said, yeah, let's build this up. I'm not ready to move in fully, to be at the front of this demonstration, and like a shout out, which I want to. I find it so powerful when I look in the news. But my system is a little bit in an overload then, and I just can't function. Everything shuts down, and 10 minutes later, there's a toilet stop. So physical it is. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Liz, for sharing that. And I can so feel what you are describing and noticing in yourself, and it, the awareness that you have of the impulse, and also what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the how your capacity can
Yeah,
shift at different moments.
exactly. Yeah, very much. And
Yeah.
rapidly.
Yes. And rapidly. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So that impulse is strong and wants to do,
Mm,
and your system is like, we need to titrate this. Like,
exactly.
maybe not this big thing all at once,
Yeah.
but how can we find ways within your capacity in the moment to work with the power and mobilizing impulse of
Yeah.
wanting, and I also hear needing, like there's a
Yeah.
need to
Exactly.
do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it is. Yeah. That's personal, I think, for him. But it's even good to be able to distinguish a want or a need. Like, there's personality and some drive, and I'm quite a you can really see my fist, a driven person. If I really, yeah, think something is valuable,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I'm so touched by actually getting a little teary when you're talking about your partner and how
Mm,
he's part of your safety bubble and being able to hold his hand, because that's such a
yeah,
brilliant way of expanding your capacity,
I
because then
agree.
it's not just your nervous system trying
Yeah,
to hold and process all of this.
yeah,
It's both of you together, that you're not alone in this.
yeah,
And that is
yeah.
such
Mm,
a vital resource, particularly when we're coming up against these overwhelming and some it feels like larger than life and maybe
mm, mhm.
even inhuman systems
Yeah,
and
yeah,
action.
yeah,
Um, and we talk so much in our conversations about the collective and community and uh, having those really meaningful relationships that we know, like just
mm,
holding this person's hand is going to be resourcing, and it's
yeah,
going to help me to feel a little bit less alone, a little bit
mm,
overwhelmed,
yeah,
and yeah, and also it's another way of titrating, right? Like maybe
yeah,
connecting in with the whole group that's protesting is too much of a state shift for your nervous system all at once.
yeah,
So being able to focus on one or a couple of folks that do feel accessible for you to tune into is a really powerful way of meeting your nervous system where it is,
yeah,
while also honoring that impulse and that need to
exactly.
be a part of this larger movement.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so beautifully put. And thank you for also, because I wrote down titration to ask you about, but I think you beautifully just explained it, like this level of from my nervous system capacity with awareness, finding ways. And you start somewhere, right?
Right.
And then you get feedback, and then you
Exactly.
learn and you digress or you go faster. And that
Uh-huh.
process, I think in education before I called it calibration. And now with the somatic awareness, like titration, I think they go very well
Absolutely.
together in
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it's a practice. Like you're saying, you're not always going to get the right.
No.
So it gets to be a bit of an experiment and a little bit of
Yeah.
play of like, okay, is this the right amount of activation or action
Yeah.
or empathy for me in this moment?
Yeah.
And then see what happens. It's all information, and you can always adjust or pivot or add more resource or
Yeah.
pause and add more time to process. Um, we have so many tools available to us that sometimes we take them for granted of like
Mm.
holding our partner's hand,
Yeah.
tuning into our breath,
Yeah.
tuning into the connection between us and the earth,
Yeah.
taking a pause to go to the bathroom even and
Mhm.
shut yourself in a room alone for a moment.
Perfect. I tell that my students all the time, especially the ones who are stressed before they have exams. And sometimes I even tell them, oh, if you want an extra toilet break, just see if you can get one in. I mean, if it calms you down, it calms you down. If you need it, they don't always like me, at the organization, but I tell that to my students. Get it as much as you want. Yeah. Beautiful. And I'm wondering, like, so in a classroom, because with empaths, but anyway, you also have, we have this collective nervous system, right, from the group. And then titration works differently because there's a group collective and then there's individuals, shifting with you. Did you have an experience where you really was like, oh, this is either too low or too high? And just to give it some hands and feet for in the classroom, how that works and how you maybe also bring it back, or you couldn't and now you know what to do.
Yeah, the classroom management piece of it is
Yeah, because
always
it's so
evolving.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much for listening to this first part of my conversation with the beautiful Cacky Mellor. And I hope it gave you a fresh insight, or maybe even like a bodily resonance, signs of recognition, and a sensitivity in your own empathy architecture. So I love to invite you to hop on over to part 2 for an answer to this classroom management challenge with so many different bodies in the classroom and so many styles of learning that you can take into account from an embodied perspective. And Cacky has some beautiful real-time, real-life cases to share with us. But before we do that, we invite you to stop, breathe, focus on one thing. Maybe it's hand on heart, hand on belly, hand on your body, wherever might need touch. Breathe. Breathe steady. Breathe lower into your body. And from this place of center, this place of where you get to decide, you get your attention, choose what and who gets my time. And now from this point, settle back into your body. And I hope we'll meet you in part 2.